crazy. I'll tell you what's crazy. 50-year-old high school chemistry teacher comes into my office. The guy is so broke, he can't pay his own mortgage. 1 year later, he's got a pile of cash as big as a Volkswagen. That's crazy.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. Warning and spoilers for Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul to Season 6, Episode 10. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing every Gene Easter egg and reference from Episode 610. Like the video if you end up enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad updates. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. With a VPN, not only can you secure your safety online, you can use it to access media and entertainment only available in other countries. For example, Better Call Saul Season 6 isn't available on Netflix in Canada or the United States, but it is in the UK. I personally recommend connecting to the France and Norway servers, as those are the servers that I'm personally using right now to stream all the new Better Call Saul Season 6 episodes in 4K. With a simple click of a button, you can view UK Netflix and see new Better Call Saul Season 6 episodes released the Tuesday after a new episode airs Monday evenings. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Disney Plus all have geo restrictions due to licensing rights. This means that hundreds of exclusive shows or even the streaming services themselves may not be available to you based on your location. With Atlas VPN, you can bypass geo restrictions and access your favorite content from across the world. So how do you unlock your favorite content with Atlas VPN? You open up the Atlas VPN application and connect the server of the country which the library you want to unlock. For example, France and Norway with Better Call Saul Season 6. Reload the Netflix application or the website. The library of these European Netflix servers should now be available. Atlas VPN protects all your devices with a single subscription. There's no limit to how many devices you want to use Atlas VPN with. You can also save some money while shopping online, get the best deals while shopping online, including online subscriptions such as Netflix and Spotify, or even airlines, hotels, and more. Right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. It's absolutely wild. This means that you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Time's running out, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below and in the pinned comment. Secure your safety online by checking out Atlas VPN and giving it a whirl. Thank you so much to Atlas VPN for sponsoring the video, I really appreciate it, and with that being said, let's jump into the breakdown. The episode is called Nippy, named after Gene's fake dog that he told Jeff's mom as a lie in the cold open. This is also the first episode all season long to break the theme of blank and blank titling the episodes. Considering Gene seemed to pre-plan posting up the Nippy posters for around the time that Marion would be on her way home, I assume that he could have somehow sabotaged her electric chair too. Also, I assume Marion is a dog person, considering that we see Jeff's brother with a dog while Gene is practicing Jeff's clothing store heist. For the first time, we see the VHS tape breaking in the intro sequence. Throughout all the seasons, the intro sequences get more and more worn down, as if they are VHS tapes being watched over and over again. This symbolizes Gene rewatching his old Saul Goodman commercials over and over again, as we saw in the very first Gene scene. I've been waiting to see if the episodes 611 to 613 intro sequences are brand new or just episodes 1 to 3 intro sequences repeated, but I was not expecting the change to episode 10's intro. This was a pleasant surprise to signify the Gene timeline, which is another pleasant surprise getting our first ever full Gene episode. Jeff's mom was revealed to be Carol Burnett, quite a twist. We knew that Carol Burnett would be in the show, but we didn't know what role she'd be playing other than her name being Marion. Carol Burnett was announced as Marion and recently teased to be related to a character that we already knew. Gene was always good with elders, so it's not surprising that Gene would win her over. Acting like a good Samaritan, helping Marion with her chair definitely won her over, especially since at the beginning of the cold open she's shown to be so reluctant to ask for help at the grocery store. This episode features at least one reference to each Gene scene throughout the first 5 seasons, and this is the first of the season 5 Gene scene Easter eggs. When Gene is at Jeff's house talking to Marion, Gene pretends that he's never met Jeff. This includes Gene saying how Marion told him that Jeff was a cab driver, along with the fact that he's had someone famous in his cab before. Gene and Marion mention Sammy Hagar, as if Marion telling Gene was the first time he'd ever heard of it. Clearly this is a story that Jeff has said over and over again, since it's the first thing that Marion jumps to in regards to Jeff being a cab driver.
Have you ever driven anyone famous?
Oh, we sure did. Sammy Hagar.
No, the Red Rocker. Hey, I love him. Hey, I can't drive a 55.
That's it.
Hey, you know who I had in my cab once? Sammy Hagar. He's even more famous than you.
Now in the season 5 Gene scene, Jeff tells Gene that he once had Sammy Hagar in the back of his cab, joking that he's famous as Saul. Gene did a wild job catching Jeff off guard by Jeff finding Gene with his mother, and Gene is definitely doing a great job playing the part. Even though Jeff can tell what he's doing, it's still working well. Jeff follows Gene, taking out his trash in order to talk to him alone and confront him. Gene calls out Jeff's motives, realizing that Jeff wanted to be in the game. Jeff hilariously doesn't understand, so Gene has to explain it to him. We of course know what Gene meant, since time and time again we've heard working for the criminal underworld described as being in the game. There's Mike telling him that Kim was in the game in 508.
She knows. She's in the game now.
What? No, she's not in the game, all right? She's not even game adjacent.
And then there's their Bad Choice Road conversation in 509 when Mike says that the men that he killed out in the desert were in the game, along with Jimmy implying that Fred from Travel Wire wasn't.
They were in the game.
What about Fred from Travel Wire? Was he in the game?
We've also heard the in the game phrase as far back as Nacho in season 1 when he leaves his number on one of Jimmy's matchbooks while telling him for when you realize you're in the game.
For when you figure out you're in the game.
I'm not in the game, I promise.
The police radio scanner is yet another reference to the season 5 Gene scene. In season 5, Gene skipped town while listening to the police detector to see if Jeff had called him in and reported him. Here we see the same thing with Gene turning it on to listen to as soon as he gets home from Jeff and Marion's. He sounded so confident towards Jeff at his place in regards to Jeff not calling him in, but I guess he wanted to make sure that Jeff wasn't going to call his bluff afterwards. While Gene listens to the police scanner, he pours himself a drink similar to the season 1 Gene scene. You can tell that this is a regular occurrence for Gene as he uses alcohol to calm his nerves. Right after pouring a drink while still listening to the police scanner, he takes out his iconic old shoebox and finds Marco's ring in there. Of course Marco's ring is in there, why wouldn't it be? This ring we see Jimmy wear throughout all of Better Call Saul along with Saul in Breaking Bad. This is Jimmy's conning ring, symbolism of his old slip-in Jimmy conning days with Marco. After Marco died in the season 1 finale, Jimmy was given his ring as a gift and he's worn it ever since. Whenever Jimmy's about to pull off a con, he rubs the ring for good luck. Whether to calm himself down or give himself motivation, he does this with the idea that Marco is always looking down on him and would be proud of him for his schemes. Of course, he had to hide it as Gene, with his ring being iconic to the Saul Goodman persona. In this episode, he puts it back on as a confident symbolism that he's returning to his Slip and Jimmy ways one last time to take care of all this Jeff business. We see Gene taking out the trash to the dumpster multiple times in the episode right before he brings the mall cops Cinnabons. This is parallel to the season 2 Gene scene where Gene got stuck at the dumpster. We see the same shots of Gene closing the Cinnabon, saying goodbye to his coworkers, giving the janitor on the floor cleaner a nod, even up to his long walk down the hallway with the camera focused on the clock. In season 2, the camera showed the clock when he got stuck by the dumpsters, along with the following morning when one of the janitors finally let him out, to show how much time had passed when Gene was just sitting there waiting to be let out due to not wanting to trigger an alarm that would call police. We even see that SG was here carving on the wall, which was obviously another reference to season 2, which Gene carved on the wall while he was waiting to get let out. It would have been nice to see Gene prop the door open extra confidently to assure that what happened in season 2 doesn't happen again, but regardless, I like this cinematic nod to season 2 anyways. When Gene first goes to visit the mall cops, we get a season 3 Gene Easter egg with one of the mall cops calling him out as the guy who yelled out, "Get a lawyer."
Say nothing, you understand? Get a lawyer! Get a lawyer.
Asshole. Yeah, I remember you. Get a lawyer!
This is a reference to the season 3 Gene scene where Gene ratted out a mall thief to them just to get them off his back due to being so scared of any type of authority. When the mall cops were dragging the thief away, Gene stood up and yelled to get a lawyer, showing that there was still some Saul Goodman inside of him just aching to get out. I love how they use the same mall cops from the season 3 Gene scene here in season 6, and actually in season 3 it was just the younger mall cop that we saw, well, we saw an actual police officer who arrested the thief. Gene telling the thief to get a lawyer could also be a reference to Saul Goodman's license plate, Lawyer Up. Speaking of the same mall cops, apparently it was them who called the paramedics for Gene passing out at the end of the season 3 Gene scene and the beginning of the season 4 Gene scene.
I just came to say thanks. I'm Gene from Cinnabon. You called the EMTs for me when I fainted.
With the season 3 and 4 Gene scenes happening directly after one another, it's interesting to consider the timeline of the mall cops. They chase down the thief, arrest him, get yelled at by Gene, and then by the time they get back to their office, they see Gene collapsed at his workstation and call the paramedics for him. When Jeff gives his doubts about practicing his mall heist, Saul motivates him by mentioning Walt, although not by name. He says that a teacher walks into his office at 50 incredibly broke. Then a year later, he has a stack of cash the size of a Volkswagen. This is technically true since Walt and Jesse would have never never made the Gus Fring connection without Saul, who knew a guy who knew a guy.
Crazy. I'll tell you what's crazy. 50-year-old high school chemistry teacher comes into my office. The guy is so broke, he can't pay his own mortgage. 1 year later, he's got a pile of cash as big as a Volkswagen. That's crazy.
After successfully conning the department store manager, we see Gene look at himself in the Cinnabon mirror and give jazz hands and mouth the words, "It's showtime." This is an Easter egg referencing Jimmy saying "It's showtime, folks" over and over during his season 1 lawyer montage.
It's showtime, folks.
Jimmy would always say it in the mirror of the courthouse bathroom to psych himself up for his pro bono cases. "It's showtime, folks" is a pop culture reference to the 1979 movie All That Jazz, which you know is why he does the jazz hands. We know that Jimmy and Saul are huge movie buffs, always making references to pop culture and quoting lines from different movies and shows.
And you will atone! It's Ned Beatty from Network. For Christ's sakes, guys.
The way that the mall cop beats the Cinnabon is just so systematic, as he eats exactly half, showing that there's exactly 50% time left for Jeff on his heist. Side note, I hate watching the mall cop eat the Cinnabon. It's like good eating ASMR, and I swear I can hear every single lip smack, lick, chew, and swallow. Just a bunch of like, oh my goodness, I love some ASMR, but eating and chewing is not one of them.
Delicious.
Also, who the heck eats a Cinnabon with a knife and fork? Especially when he's just gonna lick his fingers every time anyways after taking it out of the box. Regardless of my complaints about the mall cop, Jim O'Hare played the role to perfection. While executing the plan during Jeff's second run back to the shipping box that he was smuggled in with, he slips and falls and cranks his head on the floor, knocking himself out. Quite a comedic slapstick moment. Jeff had a slip and fall. Slip and Jimmy would have been proud if it didn't actually blow up their scheme. That being said, it wouldn't be a slip and Jimmy Con if something didn't go wrong during it. When Gene sees this, he damn near chokes on his coffee, and I don't blame him.
Wrong plate.
Gene has to then distract the mall cop from looking at the security footage by any means necessary until Jeff hopefully wakes up and finishes the job. Gene's fake mental breakdown in front of the mall cop definitely worked, and it probably helped make the mall cop not really want to see him anymore after the con too, which I would find more as a blessing than a curse. When the store manager notices a scuff on the floor, she tells an employee to polish the area. This also explains why he slipped in the first place, because the store manager keeps the floor so freaking polished all the time. While Gene plays up his mental breakdown to the mall cop, he opens up about his family deaths. He says that his parents are dead and his brother too.
My parents are dead.
With his parents, his dad died shortly after he had to close his corner store, implying that losing his store was so depressing to him that it literally killed him.
Jimmy ever tell you anything about our father? He ran a little corner store in Cicero. He ended up having to sell. 6 months later, he was dead.
We saw Jimmy's mother die during an early flashback, with Jimmy's mom calling out for him while he left to go get food for Chuck and himself. By the time he returned, his mom was dead, and Chuck never told him that their mom called out his name due to resentment and jealousy that their mom only asked for Jimmy even though Chuck was the one still by her side.
Jimmy.
No, Mom, it's me, Chuck.
Jimmy.
No, Mom, it's me. Did she wake up? Did she say anything? No.
It could also be considered noble that Chuck didn't mention it to Jimmy, as Jimmy wouldn't have ever been able to forgive himself for leaving and having such bad timing, but I think that Chuck's reasoning for not telling Jimmy the truth about their mom's final words were more malicious than noble. Then there's Chuck himself. When Gene mentions his brother, he takes a long pause.
My brother. My brother is dead.
Since it's been a while since he's acknowledged Chuck out loud, let alone even thought of him in general. We know that Gene thought of Chuck at least once beforehand when he was at the diner in the season 5 Gene scene, and he looked at the clock which read the time 12:16 p.m, referencing the 12:16 Mesa Verde numbers that Jimmy switched in season 2, which caused a huge domino effect throughout the end of season 2 and all of season 3 that eventually resulted in Chuck's death.
I know he swapped those numbers. I knew it was 12:16. One after Magna Carta, as if I could ever make such a mistake. Never. Never. I just couldn't prove it.
Gene mentions having no wife as well. From what we know, one wife was screwing his stepdad, along with another wife screwing Chet, the guy that Jimmy did a Chicago sunroof on.
You act like you're the first guy this ever happened to. I caught my second wife screwing my stepdad, okay? It's a cruel world, Walt. Grow up.
Quick question. Who here knows what a Chicago sunroof is? There was this guy named Chet. Now, Chet was a real asshole. He might have slept with my wife.
What I wonder is, are those really two different situations or the same one? Was Chet his brother-in-law, or was Saul just changing the Chet story and changing the original story for dramatic purposes? I could see Saul making up the stepdad aspect of it in order to hide the truth about Chet and the Chicago sunroof. If both of these stories are true about his first two wives, then who is his stepdad? Now, I assume that Jimmy's mother didn't get married again or get another boyfriend after his dad died, so that must be a lie. And really, Jimmy's first two wives both got caught cheating on him? That's kinda tragic and awful. Jimmy's third wife was Kim, and we got a nod towards this due to Jimmy having to give proof of his two previous divorces when he married Kim in season 5.
Sir, do you have documentation of your 2 previous dissolutions?
Yeah.
In a Breaking Bad deleted scene, Saul also tells Walt that he's been through marriage 3 times.
Oh, why? Because your wife kicked you to the curb?
Who told you that?
Nobody had to tell me, okay? I can smell it. You think I don't get it. See, I get it, okay? I've been here myself. I mean, this place, literally. This is where every middle-aged washout ends up when his wife gives him the boot. 3 marriages. You think I haven't been here?
Gene calls himself a ghost or a shadow.
Gene who? Poof. I'd be gone. I'd be a ghost. Less than a ghost. I'd be a shadow.
The way that he saw Lalo in 607. Lalo was a walking ghost to him since he thought that Lalo was dead, and the way that Lalo's arrival gets revealed to Jimmy and Kim in 607 looks like a literal shadow walking up behind Howard in their apartment. Gene calling himself a shadow could also be a reference to the Ink Spot song My Echo, My Shadow, and Me, which played during a previous Gene scene and symbolizes the 3 different personas of Gene, Jimmy, Saul, and Gene. Later on, when Gene is blackmailing Jeff and his brother, he keeps saying, I need you to say it. This is yet another season 5 Gene reference to back when Jeff was making Gene say Better Call Saul.
Now I need you to say it. We're done. Say it. We're done. Say it.
I just want you to admit it.
I don't know what you're...
Sure you do. Just say it. Come on. Say it.
During season 5, Jeff was intimidating Gene, but this time, the tables have turned, with Gene intimidating Jeff. This could be a reference to how Mike always said, I need to hear you say it, with him saying that to Kim and Jimmy at the end of 608, along with to Jesse during his first appearance in Breaking Bad.
Say it out loud. I need to hear it.
We understand.
It never happened.
Say it. I woke up, I found her, that's all I know.
I woke up, I found her, that's all I know.
Gene telling Jeff to say it could also be a reference to Walter White's iconic line, say my name.
Say my name.
At the beginning of the episode, Jeff implies that he could blackmail Gene by calling the cops.
I don't know what this is about, but all I have to do is pick up the phone and it's bye-bye Saul Goodman.
Yeah, but you haven't picked up the phone yet, have you?
But Gene blackmails Jeff by the end of the episode.
Yeah. It's called mutually assured destruction. So, if I go down, you go down.
We theorized that Jeff's motives were to blackmail Gene, but that wasn't the case. The show subverts our expectations by having Gene blackmail Jeff instead by the end of the episode, instead of trying to pay Jeff off or bribe him. Now, after blackmailing Jeff and his brother, their mother Marion insists on Gene cleaning up and joining to help her bring in the groceries. I love how Marion is more than happy to ask for Gene's help here, showing that Gene is a really good influence, at least to her, even if it's all a ruse or an act.
But things are so much better for Jeffy here, even more so now that he knows you. You're a good influence, Gene.
Marion calls Gene a good influence on Jeff, even though that couldn't be further from the truth since Gene was helping Jeff get into the game. Marion admits that Jeff fell in with a bad crowd in Albuquerque, so I wonder if he was already in the game to some extent or just a criminal wannabe.
You might not know it, but my boys had some tough times. He fell in with a bad crowd back in Albuquerque.
Was Jeff affiliated with any criminals that we've met throughout Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad? Could Saul have represented Jeff without realizing it or even remembering it? Although I'd like an answer to these questions, episode 610 wraps up the Jeff story arc nicely, so I wonder if we'll ever see Jeff again or not in the final 3 episodes. Now at the end of the episode, Gene picks out a flashy tie and shirt in the clothing store referencing Saul Goodman. This implied that Saul is happy to relive his glory days since he's idolized his time as Saul Goodman throughout his entire Gene experience. This is also symbolism that Saul Goodman is still inside him, that he's proud of himself in regards to the fact that he's still got it. Between timing the mall cop, training Jeff, fooling the department store manager, along with turning the tables on Jeff Jeff at the end with the blackmail, Gene definitely still has it. We also get a reference to the season 4 Gene scene with a shot of the Albuquerque Isotope air freshener in Jeff's cab, along with him looking in his rearview mirror, similar to the way that he looked in his rearview mirror to spot Gene when he first recognized him as Saul. Whereas in season 4, Jeff was driving Gene, in this episode it's just Jeff arriving at his house to find Gene with his mother. Next up, I wanted to call out some honorable mentions, such as the Gene Mall Cop Scheme montage. Usually Gene montages feature old 40s to 60s music of Gene working or living his life. Here we get a very Jimmy McGill, Saul Goodman-esque montage with jazz playing while Gene continuously brings the mall cop Cinnabons in order to time the average time that it takes for Frank to eat one. The editing reminds me a lot of the season 2 inflatable montage where Jimmy first started buying flashy suits. Next up, I wanted to give honorable mentions to all the mysterious teaser trailer dialogue from the season 6 part 2 teasers that were finally revealed in this episode. First off is Gene listing off the items for Jeff to steal, which we heard in last week's teaser trailer. From the moment that Gene started walking around the store while counting out his steps, I was anticipating it, and we hear it multiple times throughout the episode while Jeff is practicing a store heist, along with when he actually executes it.
1 Armani suits and run. 2 Air Jordan shoes for you. 3 linen shirts for free. 4 cashmere sweaters out the door.
1 Armani suits and run. 2 Air Jordan shoes for you. 3 linen shirts for free. 4 cashmere sweaters out the door.
Then there's Gene saying how we're not friends to Jeff. We correctly theorized that it was Gene speaking to Jeff, however the context is important too.
Man, you don't have to threaten us. We're all friends here.
I am not your friend. And if you get greedy and you decide to come back for more, don't. Gene Takovec, you never heard of him. The Cottonwood Mall, you don't go there. You see me coming, you cross to the other side of the street.
Originally, I assumed that Gene was possibly giving Jeff a bribe, maybe the diamonds, but in the episode we find out it's actually due to Gene blackmailing Jeff. And then after all that, a happy ending line, which is such a hilarious misdirection.
You're not gonna believe this, but he was with a family the whole time, just a few blocks away.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's in great shape. So after all that, a happy ending.
Due to the teaser saying this line while showing a black and white shot of Kim's apartment, we all theorized that it would have something to do with the aftermath of Howard's death or even a Gene and Kim reunion, just something to do with Kim in general. In this episode, we find out that it's practically a throwaway line that Gene says to Marion near the end of the episode while covering up for the lie about his fake dog Nippy, who Marion asked about.
Where's my brain? I keep forgetting to ask you about Nippy.
Nippy? Oh, right.
Let me know what you think about our first ever full Gene episode, along with any other Easter eggs and references in the comments below. I'll try to mention any that I've missed during my actual 610 review. In the meantime, I'm gonna go buy some sweets or some donuts or something because this episode really made me want a Cinnabon. Also, thanks again to Alice VPN for sponsoring the video. I'd like to once again remind you all that right now, Alice VPN is running a huge discount. It means that you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Time is running out, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below or in the pinned comment. If you want to see Better Call Saul on Netflix, the new season 6 episodes a day after they air, be sure to use Alice VPN and connect to either the France or Norway servers and you'll be able to see all of season 6 right in front of your eyes in 4K on the big screen. So thanks again to Alice VPN for sponsoring the video, and thanks to all of you for watching the video and supporting the channel. And speaking of support, I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today. If you're new to the channel, just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Check out my Patreon or give a super thanks to help support the channel financially, I'd really appreciate it. But most importantly, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
4 cashmere sweaters out the door. 5 Patagonians to survive. 6 Viking sweatsuits in the mix. Let's go, let's go, let's go.